When we call someone a bureaucrat, we don't mean it as a compliment. Yet, bureaucrats and bureaucracies are central to our lives. The armed forces are huge bureaucracies. So is the Department of Veterans Affairs, or the Department of Homeland Security, or the Department of Justice. So we couldn't have a civilized society, we couldn't have a society we want to live in without bureaucrats and bureaucracy. So we have a dilemma. We dislike the notion of bureaucrats and bureaucracy, but we're very keen to have the services that they provide. The myth is that we don't like bureaucrats. We don't like to interact with bureaucrats. But our survey data tells us that we actually like the interactions that we have with bureaucrats. Second, there's a myth that bureaucracies are out of control, that they're exploding, that they're growing and growing and growing rapidly. The fact is, most departments in the federal government are quite small, particularly for a country of 310 million people. For example, the Department of Education, which you hear about from time to time, has fewer people working for it, about 4,400 people, fewer people than the freshman class at many state universities. Two interesting things about bureaucrats and bureaucracies is that on the one hand, they're fair, on the other hand, they're less accountable than elected officials. In the first hand, they follow rules, and they're usually manuals and clear rules that constrain their behavior. So we are going to be treated the same way whether we walk into a Social Security office in Florida or Oregon. There's no capriciousness, there's no political favors, and most of us view that as very good. On the other hand, if a bureaucrat is doing a bad job, it's difficult to get rid of them. We can't vote them out of office. And so there's less accountability than there is for an elected official. So we want to know how people become bureaucrats. What are their backgrounds? What are their skills? What are their experiences? We also want to know what challenges they face in implementing policy, because most of government is actually implementing policies that other people decide on. And so what are the challenges? Why do things go wrong? Do they have enough resources? Do they have clear instructions? Do they have organizations that are coordinated properly to carry out policy? We want to know the answers to this. And how do you develop regulations that are useful, that aren't too costly for the economy, but help protect the American people, and that the American people generally want? These are great questions regarding bureaucracy. Our chapter sorts through the myths of bureaucracy and focuses on the challenges to implementing policy and explores the nature of regulation in America today.